Gareth Roberts in the studio, Adam Smith in his, and Chloe Bloxham in his. And we are here to talk about, first of all, the game last night, a little bit of more reflection on Benfica and Liverpool getting through to the Champions League semi-final. Part 4 is obviously all going to be about the Man City FA Cup game that's at Wembley at 3:30 on Saturday. And then Adam Smith's just gone. He obviously fuming, doesn't want to talk about any of that. No, here he is. Fantastic. And we've also got a couple of inserts. We've got a bit of a team talk because there's no team talk tomorrow as ever. We don't put out anything on the anniversary of Hillsborough, so we just snuck in a little team talk today in the insert. So for all you free listeners only, you're going to get a little bit of a taste of that subscriber show. And also, I've got Gavin Brown from the University of Liverpool talking about the Divock Origi scholarship and the fact there's now 2 kids from Liverpool studying at the University of Liverpool studying law on Divock, which is very kind of him indeed. But before all that, the game last night, Adam, it was a bit of a crazy one in the end. I was sat next to Neil. I was got 0-0 written all over it. This shows what I know.
Yeah, can you hear me all right, first of all?
Yes, mate.
Great, perfect. Yeah, it was mad, but it was fun. Like, I think we were basically through after the first leg, right? So as soon as we scored the first goal, it was like, that's it. There is no way that we're conceding 3 to take it to extra time, without reply on top of those. And then there's no way we're conceding 4 to get knocked out. So I think it just from that point, everyone was just like, fuck it then, let's go mental. And I think it was like the makeshift back line, they played on the offside brilliantly. But at the end of the day, that makeshift back line was always going to struggle to hold the line that is so precise. So yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Do you enjoy it, Chloe?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't worried. If they would have got within 1 goal, then yeah, okay, I would have been worried. But the damage was done in the first leg, and it was a bit crazy to see. We were 3-1 up, and then all of a sudden it went back to 3-3. The amount of goals they scored that was given offside maybe put your heart in your mouth. But I think at one stage it just became a bit of a joke, didn't it? And I mean, they scored in the last minute of the game as well, that Nunes, and it's given offside. But after the first one was given offside and VAR jumped in, I mean, VAR had a lovely day out, didn't it, there? I was worried for every single one after it. But nah, it was fine. It was enjoyable.
Yeah, I mean, I was having to count on both hands on my fingers at one point, Gareth, which is always an interesting sign. But once you realise that there was always that buffer, it was all right, wasn't it?
That was it, wasn't it? It was 6-2 on aggregate at one point, wasn't it? And then they get 2 more back, but there was never really any jeopardy, never really any nervousness in the ground even. I mean, there was a maths issue in terms of like, I can see the scoreboard from where I am on the cop, so I kept looking at it and going, so I had that on Twitter. Nah, I was still all right, and I think loads of people were doing that, and it kept going, no, it's still all right. I mean, look, the team itself was a calculated risk, wasn't it? It was a bit of a mismatch, and I think you could see that in how they played. Early doors, there was a lot of sort of misplaced passes and Milner's weird free kick and all the rest of it. Like you just saw examples all the way through of this isn't really a team that plays together. It's not a defence that's played together before either. And Adam was right to say earlier on, they're still trying to play the tactics of the usual team, still trying to use that offside trap. And I guess you could argue it was moderately successful in terms of all the ones that were ruled out, but then it was unsuccessful in the ones that were ruled in. That Nunes is good though, isn't he?
Yeah,
looks good. Him. I can see why Klopp fancies him. Literally said he was a good-looking fella, didn't he? But he's not bad at footy as well. No, I liked him. I mean, not the dink finish which was ruled out was lovely. But just generally, he was about, wasn't he? Yeah. And he was playing some good balls, and you could see him cajoling his teammates and stuff like that. Felt like he was sort of putting on a bit of a performance for all these clubs who were into him, basically.
Well, Diaz did that at Anfield, and it worked out all right for him, didn't it?
Yeah, you'd have him 100%. I know it really made me laugh actually. When you just know the people and the personalities. Got home, got in. Got myself a brew. Saw Gutman, yeah, straight away.
Dropped 80 million on him.
Yeah. Number 1 target. Go out and get him now. Forget all these cups. Fuck the rest of the season. Go and buy this fella. He's absolutely brilliant. And I was like, yeah, of course.
Maybe we can swap the League Cup for him. Maybe that's how it works. Would you take the shiny thing for your lovely player? mean, they've got some good players, Adam. That's why they're in a Champions League quarter final, and the fact that Liverpool were able to sort of dispatch them with relative ease and rest a few is a good thing for our season, because the games come thick and fast now. You know, Jaeger was moaning about the Newcastle game in the press conference. Someone's asked about any news on Newcastle game being moved there. John Summers said, no, it's set in stone now. It's 12:30 on Saturday, whether Jaeger likes it or not. You're going. What time are you getting up? If you worked it out, or you going Friday?
No, we're going on the day driving. Just going to get up early and go. Be all right. I haven't worked out what time I'm driving. Well, I'm not driving, so I'm just getting a lift. So
you get picked up when you get picked up.
Yeah, let us know. Let us know, John.
If you're listening, John, let us know in the comments what time you planning on leaving. I can't remember what the question was there. I got involved in admin. Adam, there's a lot of games, so it was good to rest some lads.
Yeah, look, I think the game couldn't have gone much better for us, to be honest. It was pretty perfect in the sense that we got to rest. You know, basically, we could easily go again with the same team that played Saturday. It played City last Sunday. We could go with that team again, thanks to the rotation we've been able to make. And I've got a sneaking suspicion that's what he's going to do as well. I think he's going to choose to do that because it'll be a little bit like you've learned how they've played now. We've seen all their tricks, so now you know what to expect. Go ahead and take them on. So yeah, I think it's really good that we've been able to rest some players. We could go full strength in the FA Cup, and then you can slightly rotate against United because they're shite. So it's like the perfect little combination, which is just exactly where we all want to be with what's at stake now. You know.
Plenty more United are shite on the Anfield Wrap on Monday, by the way. So make sure you're listening to the free show. And I'm watching the Bacon Butty. I reckon Robbo will have a little go at that as well. Chloe, nice couple of goals for Bobby Firmino. Talking of positives, I thought he looked generally bright and good to see him on the score sheet. I think he's everyone's favourite person to score. It feels like we love them all, but when Bobby scores, it just feels like everyone celebrates that smidgen extra.
Oh. Yeah, we absolutely adore him, don't we? And he adores us, so it goes hand in hand. I think the thing with him is, I just think he gets us. He's just a bit mad. Even when someone else scores, he's obviously trying to take someone's head off with a lovely kick over there. But yeah, he just builds the crowd. He gives the crowd what they want, and he can be such an integral part of this running that we've got right now. He can be massive still for this football club, and I think a lot of people maybe don't realise what he actually does. He's a different dynamic than what we can do up top. Jota's been brilliant, obviously, but Bobby Firmino still has it all. He still has the technical ability to do absolute magical things in this front line, and the second finish is absolutely brilliant, by the way, on the volley it comes down. So
nice,
he's still got so much quality to still be making a difference in this team, and he's only got 14 months left on his contract, but maybe if he has a good run in, that might be extended. I think the only worry for anyone right now is the fact that his body's not being as good to him this season as it has in every other season.
Yeah, and there was some good post-match pints chat on for me, and I enjoyed it. But I mean, like, Kevin, Neil, yourself, all love him, and that sort of beamed through.
Yeah, absolutely. He's rock and roll, isn't he, Bobby Firmino? I think that's the thing about him. He's Brazilian. We all love a Brazilian. He's got Elton John's wardrobe. He's got the mad teeth. He's always slightly adjusting his barnet in one way or another. I mean, he had a top knot, didn't he?
Yeah.
Let's not forget that. And he's got all the skills you'd ever want in the locker. Like, he just took that goal that Chloe's on about there as though like it was in training or something. Just not bothered. Watch this on the volley, bang, nice. And then I think it was Neil on the post match pint saying like it was as though he was like. He was cupping his ear to the cop, but it wasn't like in a Stuart Downham way, like a "fuck you, you've all been doubting me" way. It was like, "Where's my song here?" Do you know what I mean? Like, come on, I'm boss. And he's just got that swagger, hasn't he? And as Chloe said, he's 31 now, is he? But 11 goals this season, not bad, chipped in. And I'd love to think we can maybe give him another year, not out of charity, but like out of the fact that he can contribute. I mean, I think it's going to be like sort of Milner-esque in that it's going to become fewer and further between type of thing, given the other lads who got up front. But, knowing that you've got someone with his nous, his ability to come in at times, come off the bench and things like that can be no bad thing, surely.
Absolutely, absolutely. Jackie there saying Bobby needs to stay. Chris Back, Bobby is still a vital member of the squad. I agree with both of those sentiments. That volley that Robert was talking about there, Adam, comes from a lovely Chimika's cross, and he also sets up Konate's header, very much one, gets up early and buries it. He's a top lad, Chimika's. Everyone really likes him, and he's a good personality. The Greek Scouser stuff's all good fun, but above all else, he's a really good footballer, and we're very lucky to have someone who's able to come in and out like he is and perform at such a high level.
It's like 100%. Yeah, 100%. He seems like a really sound fella. Seems like most of all of the squad really like him. And what a thing to be able to say, we can rest Andy Robertson, but don't worry, this lad's coming in and he's great as well. Some of the crosses were absolutely fantastic. Just a really lovely thing. Look, I don't think Gomez is doing bad down the right, but what would we give for an option on the right that's at the same level as he is on the left and is able to cover Trent in the same way that he's able to cover Robbo? It's brilliant. Really, really pleased. And obviously, as a left footer myself, I've got a kinship with him.
Would you say you've got a cultured left foot, Adam?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's got plantar fasciitis in it at the moment, which means I can't stand on it properly. But sure.
You should see him swinging.
Exactly. My passing.
I'm just going to jump in now. I can't hear you, John, for some reason. I called a minute ago. No idea why not now.
That's it.
So going back to Adam.
Can you hear Gareth?
Can you hear me, Chloe? Chloe?
I don't think you can't hear anybody, can you, Chloe?
I can hear you, I think, actually, yeah.
Adam, do you want to ask Chloe a question?
Yeah. Do you want any particular question you want me to ask her? Or?
It's all about the midfield.
Chloe, what did you make of Liverpool's midfield last night? I thought James Milner struggled a little bit.
There we go, yeah. I was really impressed with Naby Keita. I like Naby Keita. He looks like, we've been on and over him, but he looks like when he's started to play now, he's got a bit of consistency about him, and I'm actually really enjoying it. The first leg, he was brilliant. And last night I thought he was really good as well. He was an engine. The ball for Diaz leading up to Firmino's goal, very unlucky that Diaz, he's not got an assist there for him because it was lovely. But he just kept us going, tipped us over, and he got back as well. So I've been really impressed with Naby Keita. As for the other two, I mean, Milner, he probably ran the most yards. I didn't see him as much. It looked like in the second half, at least, it looked like one ball cut us open and we were in. But the defence, obviously, not makeshift, but players that have never played together. And only one centre half there, which is Matip. So I think you can forgive that. The midfield, I'm just quite happy that Henderson got a little run out. And then got taken off because it's your captain, so he will be starting against City on Saturday. As for Milner, you love to see him because he's one of the club's best signings, in my opinion, and I absolutely adore the lad.
Yeah, that's Chloe on the midfield. John, back in the studio.
Thanks, Adam. On Keita there, he's one of a few now, Gareth, where you wouldn't say that they're quite in that first team. If there was a final, I mean, he ends up playing the final because Thiago gets injured. But if you think about the team that played against Man City being more or less his first team, there's 3 or 4 who don't get in there, who, if you put them in, perform, I would argue, at the same level, if not just below. And I'd say I'd put Diaz in there, I'd put Keita in there, I'd put Konate in there. There's another one we just talked about, Chimika's there. It's such a gift, isn't it, to have 4 or 5 players who are just as good as the first 11 and just can't get in because there's not enough shits.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant, and that's the ideal situation that you want, really, isn't it? I mean, it's not for those players that you're talking about, but if the manager can keep those players happy and hungry, then it's perfect for him and it's perfect for us, and it's exactly what you want. And the idea that there's not much drop off between these players, superb. I mean, I'm sure we'll come on to talk about Manchester City, and you know, the celebrations in the ground when De Bruyne had gone off, and you know, and that's with good reason. I mean, that's not, you know, just celebrating an injury or whatever before someone gets offended by that. But you know, it's the idea that, you know, there's a huge drop off to whoever else comes in. Like, you know, that might be Grealish, and someone might say, well, he spent a shitload of money on him, Sam, but he's still not De Bruyne though, even though they spent all that money. Equally, if you got someone like Nathan Ake coming in or whatever, he's a decent player, but he's not Walker. And so when you can close those gaps and you almost don't notice a squad player coming in, then that's brilliant. But I like, you know, what we've been used to and what we're used to in football is there is drop-offs, and there's not much you can do about. Like, it used to annoy us, didn't it, when we were, you know, it's not that long ago we called a two-man team around Gerrard and Torres and things like that. And there was a drop-off then, do you know what I mean? If they were in the side, you're like, shit. You know, like...
Well, that was the problem 13-14 as well, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
Sort of 10 good players, and then the bench was just lads we'd found somewhere.
And, you know, I can remember in Well Read and things like that, writing big articles about, you know, get off and goes back, he can't help it that he isn't X, you know what I mean? But, you know, now we're getting a squad where you know, the quality levels keep rising, and then we've got this sort of young undercurrent as well, who were there. You got Divvy kicking around as well, who I thought looked pretty bright when he came on. Wouldn't rule out a Divvy moment between now and the end of the season. So, you know, it's brilliant around the squad right now. And you're right about Naby. Like, I mean, I'm not one of his biggest fans, I've got to be honest. I know there's this huge debate that goes on virtually every week, it seems, online. I never engage in it. I don't get involved in it. I just think he's been disappointing compared to what I thought we were getting. Some of that's down to luck, some of that's down to form, etc., etc. What I would say is, I think it's been dead obvious all the way through that the management back him, that the management rate him. And, you know, you've seen when he's done bits, like you think about in Benfica, you know, you could see them going like, well, in Naby, because they know he's got it in him. And I think we all know he's got it in him. And if we can see it more, then fantastic between now and the end of the season.
Yeah, Bob Bailey says here, surprised to say, but I think Naby Keita should start on Saturday. Well, we'll see. We'll get everyone's Manchester City predictions, team and thoughts. After a little bit of a break, you're going to hear about a couple of Liverpool legends now, Josh Sexton and Divock Origi, and then we are going to be back here. In the meantime, well, if you listen on the podcast, you're going to get those inserts. If you're listening live, you're going to get us trying to figure out if Chloe can hear us now. Give us a sec. You can. Brilliant.
Yeah, we all good?
Ross? Okay.
Perfect. Yeah. All right, cool. That worked. All right, let's go back in then. Hi, everyone, by the way. Hi, everyone.
good old off and on again. No, can't beat it. Okay. And to Wembley on Saturday then, at 3:30 kickoff on Saturday. I'll go to you, Chloe, celebrate the fact that you can hear my question. How are you feeling about it? How's the mood? How's the nerves?
It's not as bad as the Premier League, and I think it was because I thought that if City won that game and they were 4 points clear, the title was over. This, I mean, they couldn't even fill their allocation out, so I'm really not that worried. I mean, that says enough about the team as it is, but yeah, it's going to be a hard one. We all know it is, but relish in the moments because there's not many teams that get to do this. And Jurgen Klopp and his men keep taking us on these journeys. So I'm actually excited. Last Sunday I was stressed, but this one so far I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, I feel less nervous than last week, Adam, and I don't know whether that's because, you know, the Premier League means more to me, or whether, you know, I've seen it now, I've experienced the West, the fact that it's at Wembley rather than sort of going to their place. Where are your levels of nerves, and what does that tell you about yourself?
Do you know what? It's really interesting because I'm more nervous about this, and I think the reason why is I've already consigned myself to the idea that City are going to win the league. I thought that regardless of who won the game last weekend. I just think their fixtures are too easy, and I know what Neil says about it and everything else, but I just think, like, I really don't like the look of that Tottenham game for us. They've really hit form under Conte, and I think Kane and Son are just set up to try and hurt a team like us, giving them so much space to run into. So I'm I'm just of the opinion that we're probably not going to have what it takes, to get over the line in the Premier League, because City are just so good, as they should be for such an expensively assembled squad. Whereas the FA Cup, that it is literally who wins this goes on and makes it into the final. So it feels massive. It feels a little bit like it could be a precursor to the Champions League and all of the nerves that come with that as well, which is just not. I just can't be doing with it, to be honest. It's just too much. I really hate them, and I dislike everything about Man City, for reasons that I won't get into, because you'll probably have to put legal disclaimers all around everything I say. But I just don't. I'm not a fan, and I just can't be bothered with the tenseness of the games. But on the flip side, if we beat them, you've got to fancy us to win the FA Cup, and we haven't done that since 2006. And whilst it's definitely the lowest trophy on the list of trophies that we can take part in, it feels big to me as somebody who grew up with it still. And I'd like us to win it again. And of course, listen, if we finish the season with a domestic double and that's all we get, that's nothing to be sniffed at. We've waited for years to win more trophies. So I really want to win it. And so I feel really nervous. And what it says about me, John, is that I think I'm just a terrible person.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Gareth, the FA Cup, it's just a semi-final, but I agree with Adam that it does feel like if we can get past City, then they probably will go on to win it. I think the Palace-Chelsea game will be interesting. I think Palace have got a better shout than most people are giving them sort of credit for. I know Chelsea have had a couple of good results recently.
Palace are quite enjoyable now as
well. They're a laugh, aren't they?
Yeah, they're good. They're a good side, and I like Vieira as well. And you have to think about what's gone on this week, that it sort of increased Palace's chances, and then we can all be balanced and go on about 1990 and 4 threes and all that kind of stuff, which has absolutely no relevance in 2022, really. But
you could try and get Ian White on.
Yeah, that'd be all right, wouldn't it? Get Brighty on, get them all on, get the full team in.
Jeff Thomas,
yeah. But I really want to win it at the weekend, of course. And my thing with it as well is not just is it a semi-final of the FA Cup, but also it's them again. And I just want to beat them now. I feel like it's been, too long since we last beat them. I didn't think we give the greatest account of ourselves last weekend in terms of how we started the game and things like that. And I think we can do more. And look, we still caused them problems, even not being the best version of ourselves. So we were the first side this season to stop them from winning a game when they've taken the lead. We were the first side to score that early in the second half against them and that kind of thing. We caused them problems without actually playing as well as we can. And, I watched the highlights of the Atletico game, and they were causing them problems, and they could have scored goals, and they had chances and everything. So it's not, look, they're great, of course they're great, and they've got all that resource, and they spent all that resource, and they've got that manager, and they've got this squad, but they've got problems as well. And their squad depth isn't that impressive, really. I was having a look before, and I think you've got 13 players at City. No, 13 players at Liverpool who've done 2,000 minutes plus, and it's 10 at Liverpool because we've managed out the minutes a bit more. And obviously we make all these changes against Benfica. They've just gone pretty much same side again. They're having fights, they're pulling hair, they're getting involved in brawls in the tunnel, they're flying out to Spain. They've used a lot of energy there, mentally and physically, surely. And I don't know. And I just liked, by the way, I seen in the comments there a little bit earlier about the Wembley pitch, and it always makes me laugh about people going about as though it's fucking massive and all that. City's is bigger. Old Trafford's bigger. We won 5-0 this season. Molineux's bigger, and we've won there as well. So, okay, Wembley is bigger than Anfield, but we are capable of going to a big pitch and winning. We have done this season, so I don't think we need to bang on too much about the pitch. But I don't know, I think as well, they've got this obsession, City, of course, with winning the Champions League, because that's what makes you truly great, isn't it? And they haven't done it. So for as long as they don't win it, it means people like me are still able to bang on about playoff wins against Gillingham and all this kind of stuff as being as relevant as anything they've done in Europe. So they want to get that off the back. You feel like the players all want that, the manager all wants that. And I just wonder if that takes a little percentage away from them. That's their priority, really, even if they are giving it all in every game. Whereas Liverpool, I feel like we want to land a punch on their chin, and this is the opportunity to do it this weekend. So I'm bang up for it. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to the trip down, being there, all the rest of it. I'm not nervous about it. I fancy us.
Fancy us, Chloe?
With our squad, yeah, of course.
What
I,
you do with the squad then? What would you
uh, I
determine
think
this last Saturday?
Um, the usual back five, obviously. Me midfield. I'd like to put Keita in there, but I'm not going to because Jordan Henderson's not going to be dropped. So I'm going to go with the same midfield, even though I think they really struggled. My only changes, I think Diaz should start on the left wing. I would have started Firmino, other than the fact that in that second half against City, I thought Mane was our best player. I thought he was really, really good.
Yeah.
So I'd put Mane up top and I'd put Salah. I'd bring him back in. So the only change there is Diaz, but um, I'm hoping that the midfield's going to be better than it was because it was getting, bypassed a couple of times in that City game. But um, you know, they've had a little bit of a rest now. Some of them played 30 minutes, which is fine. You've got to have some form of rhythm going into the game, and hopefully they can crack on because we've got a brilliant squad along with Cities and the two greatest sides coming together, and hopefully the Reds do come out on top.
I mean, the man made a comment before Adam in the press conference saying that we were quite a bit below our level. He said City played really, really well, and us sort of good in parts, if you like. What Chloe said there about the midfield, needing to be better at holding the ball and getting us up. They'll be aware of that. Klopp's not just saying it in a press conference and not telling the players. They'll have watched the videos. Are you confident that they'll cope better, both in terms of defence and midfield, with what City have to throw at us, and that will allow us to get the ball up to the pitch more often to these wonderful attackers we've got?
Yeah, I am. I mean, for the record, while I'm more nervous about this than I am the league game, I do think we'll win. And I think in part that's because these lads have just experienced it. They've just gone through it. They know what happened in the first half. Fabinho looked like he was running through treacle at times in that first half. He just couldn't. Van Dijk looked really nervous, which we've just never seen from him before. And they all looked a little bit like they were overwhelmed by it. I don't really think City played like significantly better than us. I think we played really poorly and it made them look really good, if I'm being totally honest. And I know a lot of people don't agree with that, and that's totally fair. But that's kind of how I felt watching the game, that we were making them look good. And I think that they've experienced that now. And so they'll go into this and be like, nah, this how we played in the second half is the real Liverpool, not that first half performance. So let's go out there, let's get things tight at the back, and let's make sure that we, as you say, get the balls to the lads up front. I've seen, a thing before of he's not sure about Jota's fitness is he's got to check tomorrow. So I think what's going to happen there, I would think, is that I think Chloe's right. Mane will go through the middle and Diaz on the left, I reckon. And that's really exciting. So the midfield, I think, will know exactly what it needs to do. And the defence won't be quite as nervous, I don't think, because it just knows what's happened. And also, Guardiola was always going to have a plan for our high line, right? He was always going to have some ideas because he's a brilliant coach, right? We've seen the plan now. We know what the plan was, so we can go. We can spend this week, trying to figure out a way to negate that plan. And also, none of the goals they scored came because of the high line. In fact, the only thing the high line did was stop them scoring the winner through Sterling. So I'm quite excited. I do think it'll be a really good game. I'm just nervous because I want to win it.
Nervous because you want to win it. What would you be doing from free, Gareth? Because he's got good options to go for.
Yeah, there's people in the comments saying about Bobby, and I understand why, because Bobby graphs, doesn't he? And Bobby would cause like the likes of Rodri problems, and will drop into midfield and do work there that the likes of Jota doesn't do, in my opinion. But I just don't see him starting 2 consecutive games would be my thing. To give him such a big role last night says you don't give him a big role again. And before that it was Watford for Bobby, wasn't it, as well? So he's been using him sparingly. I think Chloe's right in terms of you got to go with Mane. He was causing them problems, scores a good goal. I think Mo as well. You're definitely playing Mo. There's no two ways about that. I thought, when he was trying that curler again last night, I was thinking that's getting closer. That now, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he looks a little bit like he's edging back towards the Mo we know and love, and hopefully Wembley, is where it clicks and one of them goes in the top bin instead of just going just wide. And then I'd love to see Diaz start, because I think that, that's quite balls out. He's a bit different. He'll run at you, he'll cause you problems. And look, if they haven't got the first choice defence and they've got De Bruyne out, Walker out and things like that, we might be able to get at them a little bit more. My thing was what you said before, John, about Keita. I don't think he'll do it, but I think there's a decent argument to do it, because one of the things that was annoying for me in the game the other week was just how we allowed them to get at us a little bit early on, and we lost some of those battles early on, and we were just a bit sleepy, a bit dozy over that free kick, and both Firmino and Henderson were sleepy on it. Stand over it, get in the way, don't let them take the quick one. So Keita to me is one who, okay, we've had our problems with him, but he presses and he works, and he's quite switched on and he's clever with his passing and things like that. And I don't know, he feels like one who'd be a good one to have in the side to help with a quick start. I just can't see Fabinho playing that bad again either. And then you've got to have Henderson in there, I think, because he's the skipper and all the rest of it, and he's up for big games. So, I wouldn't expect him to be dropped. So I think that's my midfield. And that's my forward line as well. And then the rest of it sort of picks itself, doesn't it? I guess there's maybe a question mark about Matip, but we keep saying that now. Touch wood, where some wood he are. But, people keep saying he doesn't play this many games in the row and all that, but he can't viz now, isn't he? He's been all right fitness-wise. Again, touch wood.
What would the World find some wood there on the table, but he's done it for the Reds. His commitments knows no boundaries. Chloe, I mean, Rob was sort of alluded to there about, these lads, you back them in big moments and you back them in big games. And I think that's what, I'm trying to remember when I do get a little bit nervous is that, well, how many times have they actually let us down, over the last sort of 3-4 years? It's on one hand, isn't it? You counting how many times really, and I fully expect them to turn up on Saturday, and that's not to say that City won't as well, because they're a really good side, and their fans might be saying the same. But when I try and think with me head as well as my heart, I just sort of feel that you can back these boys to stand up when it matters.
Yeah, you can back them all the time. I think when we played them on Sunday, I think Liverpool were maybe a 6 out of 10, and we've came out of that game with a draw. And you saw that once we actually strung a couple passes together, we were extremely dangerous. Our 2 goals came from us just getting the ball down and passing in amongst them. And we didn't keep hold of possession good enough on Sunday. That was the main problem. Now, in obviously a neutral stadium, hopefully the lads have more calmness about them, because it was like the ball was a hot potato at times on Sunday. It was a bit mad to watch. But yeah, I think we played the occasion on Sunday, and let's not do it this weekend. For me, it doesn't feel like the biggest game. It's obviously a massive game, but it doesn't feel as massive as what happened on Sunday, and maybe that's because we've got the know-how of what to do. We've been here before, we've done it before, and this time, there'll be a lot of reflection on that. The lads have had a really good rest, and also these lads have been in semi-finals before, being in the semi-final of a Champions League. They've been knocked down several times and they've came back. So an FA Cup semi-final, it shouldn't be something that's not out of the ordinary for them. We've already played at Wembley once. We've already won something at Wembley once.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
And why not keep up the great percentage result against that? Because we played a very, very strong Chelsea side. At the time, a lot of people were saying they could potentially win the league, and they dropped off, and we beat them. So let's just go and beat City as well. But if we could avoid going to penalties, my heart would be absolutely delighted.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point from Chloe there, Adam, just to sort of start rounding off, and that they'll have a good feeling when they go to Wembley. They'll be there and they'll remember, the penalties, they'll remember the celebrations, they'll remember Kepa. There are all these wonderful memories sort of flooding back. And I think City lost last time they were out there. They got beaten in the FA Cup semi-final last year. So I'm going with that. So, so that might be, it's slightly sort of different feeling. But for us, they'll be thinking about, that League Cup and thinking, that was great, more of that.
Yeah,
We've got the same
absolutely.
dressing room.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think that's winning begets winning, doesn't it? You know, that's a reality of football. When teams are doing well, they tend to carry on doing well, and it's why the likes of Leicester's Premier League win was such a great story, because it kind of came out of nowhere and then nothing really followed it for a few years. Whereas normally, when a team wins the Premier League, it goes on to win something else. It keeps going there because the players get that feeling and going, yeah. And you know, let's all be honest, probably like the bump in the bank balance when they get a bit of silverware to the name as well. Thanks to all of the bonuses that they'll have attached to them. So I think we'll go. I think we'll be really relaxed. I'm looking. I think, you know, Jurgen's able to sell these lads a story, exactly as you've already said. Of yeah, we've been here, we've won here. They haven't. The last time they were here, they lost. The last time we were here, we lifted a trophy. Let's get ourselves back into that sort of situation. But also, they've just been to Spain. They've had to deal with Simeone and Atletico Madrid doing the nutting, not just for the 90 minutes either, for the, you know, sort of 10, 15 minutes afterwards, with all the ridiculousness around that. Whereas we've had a lovely little time. Even your man Nunes at Benfica was saying after the match, he was like, you know, I thought I was going to score, and then Alisson saved it. Oh, that was fun, wasn't it? He was having a laugh. We've had a lovely old time. You know, everyone's singing Jurgen's new song. We all had a really, like, all hands together come by our we've had, while they've been dealing with Simeone's devil men. And so I think Klopp's going to be able to sell them all that and go, let's just go and enjoy ourselves. They'll be stressed out, get a goal early, and they'll just be really, really annoyed with life.
That's what we want, isn't it? I mean, Manx annoyed with life, definitely, Gareth. But 5:30, we're listening to the Beatles rather than Blue Moon blasting around Wembley.
Yeah, and what we don't want as well. I mean, you know, if you don't want to moan about these type of things, we've already even happened, but we don't want extra time, do we? We don't want pens, not least because it's going to be a fucking ball like to get there and back. Thanks for that, everyone who's been involved in the organisation of that. But yeah, we want it done, and a fast start would help. And you know, that's such a cliche around football games, but it's also true, because you know you set your stall out in terms of what you're doing, and Liverpool didn't do that last week. I kind of think I'd be surprised to see a squad aside, and with coaches we've got as well, the quality around all of that, I'd be surprised to see them start slowly again and be caught in the way they were last time. So I make us, in my head, at least the favourites for this. I think we're all right for this. And then also I think as well, but you know, just to get one in early, I seen some odds earlier on for us against United. 13-2 for a United win at Anfield. Like, wow, how the mighty have fallen. Absolute shite. Just thought I'd get that in there.
And you still won't waste a fiver on it, would
No,
you?
would you?
I've just checked. The Manchester City have lost in the FA Cup semi-final the last 2 seasons. So there we are. Beat by Chelsea last year and Arsenal the year before. So it's all coming together. It's all coming together for the Reds. Listen, I hope you've enjoyed this show. I hope you've enjoyed all our content over today. As I say, we're going to be having a blank day tomorrow. It's the Hillsborough anniversary. We never put anything out, and so, but we'll be back on the bus on Saturday, put something out in the morning, and then straight after the game, hopefully after the jubilant Liverpool win, and we've seen Liverpool go into the FA Cup final. That is the hope. That is the plan. But thanks a lot. A couple of people as well have mentioned the poor unfortunate man who unfortunately died in the stadium last night as well. So obviously a word to him and his family. You know, there was a few people who were around him who were obviously aware of the incident just before the game, and unfortunately the news has come through that he has passed away. So absolutely terrible, and our thoughts, of course, with him. But I hope you've enjoyed the show, everyone. Nothing from us tomorrow. We'll